Alrighty, today we are installing a Mitsubishi mini split. Boom, let's go. Yeah, so mini split's going right there in that section marked by the homeowner. We're gonna be running our line set down this wall. We've got this bracket system. We're gonna mount our outdoor unit out here. Pretty simple job. Here's our indoor unit. We've talked everything over with the customer. This is going to be our electrical hole. It's going to be our line set hole. One of the first things you're going to want to do in most instances is kind of mock up your indoor unit. We already know where he wants it, but he said we have a little bit of liberty with this space right here. Got your back plate. All right, so Mitsubishi and a lot of other manufacturers follow kind of the same protocols. They make this really easy because they have this one hole right here which is centered. Here we are. Boom. So now we can level it, sink this screw. Once it's leveled, mark where we want all of our other screws to go. So we've got this thing leveled out. We've got it where we want it to be. And we've got all these screws in here, but now we're gonna take this off, and the screws that don't have a stud behind them, we're gonna put an anchor behind it. Mountain bracket got me. Look at that thing, dude. These are our anchors right here in our mounting bracket. So our line is going to come through right here. We're going to go this way. Since it's going to be on, since it's the right hand side of the unit, we're going to have to bend these lines. These lines are going that way. So we need to bend them over and down to get them to where we need them to be. I told the customer they need to leave us an access panel there, and he said he'll do that. Beautiful. All right, look at this guy. You don't need a hole hog to make a hole for these tiny lines. Hole hog is what we have for holes, so kind of overkill. All right, so these are our lines right there. That's our drain. Always put your stuff back where you found it, and then you can't get lost. So I drew a little picture of my proposed path for the line set, and I'm gonna go show the homeowner and see if he's cool with it. Homeowner's approval, so we're gonna start cutting. Woo! Bringing our line set over, down, and then there's a shower here, but there's gonna be shelving, and so we're gonna come here, and then we're gonna run it this way through here and out there. This thing isn't centered, just barely off. Let's see if we can center this thing. Not Milwaukee approved. Alright, you two, I'm coming to you, pleading for guidance. If anybody has any tricks to getting these out after using your whole hog, none of us know how to do it. So, give us some guidance, guys. line set like this, most of the hard work is done, because what we can do, the only part we have to really feed it through, though, that hole, and that hole. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna feed it through here. Well, we'll feed it this way, so we can feed less. So we'll feed it through here, down to there, out the wall, and the rest we just bend into place. And we made sure we have a slight downslope through here. We'll shove our PVC in with it, and then we'll have to make some PVC joints in here. We did try the flexible hoses that they sell with a lot of these mini splits. If you're not going straight down and out, there's too much friction in that tubing. It's like corrugated tubing. This right here would probably get clogged rather quickly. Even though we have a downslope, it's gonna get clogged. It also rots in the sun. If you drain it right outside and you leave it exposed at all, and like even in San Diego, where I guess we have a high UV index here compared to a lot of places, but usually you see it cracking and rotting within 3 to 5 years. This is 1/4 inch, 3/8 line set. It's almost impossible to keep this stuff. You have to almost try. I definitely did not make these holes big enough for our line set and our PVC drain. Alright, I think we're gonna have space now. If you're gonna be trimming your line set, then you always want to leave yourself a little bit of extra. You don't want it to be a super tight connection. You don't want to stretch the line set to its limits, because that way, if you mess up on the flare and have to redo it, you have a little bit of slack in your line that you can pull out, and you don't put yourself in some kind of pinch where you're using every last bit of your copper. Same with this wire. You don't want to screw yourself in the future by not leaving yourself some extra wire. We're obviously not going to need all this. We're just, the penetration's right there, but never a bad thing to have a little bit of extra left in the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this PVC in here. Then we're going to get some nail plates in here. That way we know exactly where this line is going to be. We're at the point where we are going to flare these lines. We already did the outdoor flares, but the same applies inside and outside. It's really no different. I got a couple of pro tips for you here. Not forget your fittings, these guys, before you flare these things. If you do that, all you're gonna have to do is reflare. So it's not end of the world, but if you didn't leave yourself enough slack, then that becomes a problem. These, lots of times they'll get stuck. What most guys do is they take 2 crescent wrenches, twist it. What you can do is you can actually bend that pipe. What I found is a better way to do that is to use a socket. I could just do it with my hands. Even though it didn't matter this time, still, I would call that a pro tip. Those can get stuck on there pretty tight. If you have a line set that comes with fittings, they say that you'll want to use the ones on the unit to actually attach to the unit. We use a very, say, high-end flare tool, and you do not need one this nice. It's nice when you're doing high volume. But that one we're gonna redo. See how that edge right there, where my thumb is rough, and that edge right there is smooth? That's what you're looking for. That can leak because it's not gonna seal real nice. It's got a little bump in it. So that just tells me I probably didn't deburr it well enough, and we're gonna have to do it again. Your copper cutter wheel has a little notch right there. You can see that? That is literally there for cutting flares. This is our blade right here, see that? And the flare's sitting right in that notch. So now we can actually cut this thing and only take off that tiny bit of pipe. So it's not a big deal if you have to redo your flares. And then look at how little of this pipe came off. That's all we took off. Just that little bit. What this thing does is it's like a little blade. See that? It's a little blade. And what you're doing is you're gonna go around and cut this whole entire little lip out of the inside of this pipe, like that. You want to point this down while you do it because you're actually gonna cut little pieces of this pipe out. You want those to go down, not into the pipe. Now we should have a better flare. I did deburr it. Maybe I just didn't do a good enough job on the last one. We'll see. Look at that. No rough edges on that flare. You can see. Let's see. So that will seal a lot better. All right, so most manufacturers tell you that you want to put some kind of oil. So the nylog, you can see it's right there on the inside. And then we got a little bit on the outside too. Same on this guy, inside. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it outside. You don't want to do it on the actual threads. It's not what they want. They want it on the mating surfaces, which are the parts where the flare is touching and then where the flare is seating onto it. So while you screw this thing on right here, what you want to do is you want to pull down on this pipe, make sure your flare is actually sitting in the back of the flare nut. If you do that, you get it hand tight. Then you can do the rest with your flare gun. All right, guys, I'm gonna explain to you how to torque these things. You want to hold this service port still while you do this. So you hold your service port still, you go with your torque wrench, you tighten it to torque. Different torque wrenches are going to tell you in different ways, but this one's almost there. That constant beep is telling me that I've maxed out my torque to what it's supposed to be. So that's what you want to hear. So that tells us that we've maxed it out. You like to just kind of hold it there. Sometimes it jumps a little bit, but I wasn't actually moving it more when I was doing that. I just like to make sure it's feeling constant tension on it at that level. The 1/4-inch flares are notorious for being the hardest to get to flare on and not leak. We've added nitrogen. We've got bubbles on all of our joints, making sure that they're not leaking. And we're doing all this before we even try and pull a vacuum. No bubbles there. We pressure tested this thing real high. It's been holding for a while now. So 376 PSI. We've got bubbles on all this stuff. Nothing's leaking. So yeah, we are going to be good. All right, so we are pulling our vacuum. This is measuring on the close side of the vacuum. This is not going to accurately reflect the level of vacuum we are at in that pipe. Unfortunately, on these mini splits, this is the only option we have is to measure it on the close side because most of them don't have the 2 service ports. They only have the 1. Let's go over how to break a vacuum. Usually what I do is I put this thing into purge so I have a little bit of pressure right here. So I got a little bit of pressure and I'm going to hook up to this just a little bit. Now we know it's going through to the vacuum and we close this off. And now we just got a little bit of pressure going in here. What this does is it's pressurizing our lines just a little bit, okay? Do a teensy like that, just a little bit. So now our lines are gonna pressurize and then you're gonna pull your vacuum back out again. We're gonna let it back out. So we do it. We open this back up, we got pressure coming back out. And before this runs out, what we're gonna do, when this gets nice and low, so we're slowing down, slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. Still hear it, still coming out. Now we close that. So we have barely any pressure in there, okay? And now when we open our vacuum back up, it's gonna be pulling all the gunk that was not kind of loosening by your vacuum pump the first time. It's gonna pull it out now when you go for it the second time. Open this line back up. Halfway, we gotta be nice to our vacuum. We don't want it to blow up. Take this guy off. Now we got our micron gauge at atmospheric pressure. We'll hook this guy back up. Probably in microns already. Let's see. Might take a sec. Yeah, there we go. Now we'll just let it pull again. Do its thing. Our vacuum pulled down to 160 microns. We're gonna break it again. You can feel. See, we'll pull down real quick right here. I like to be able to get this 90 straight out. I don't think we're gonna be able to get this one to line up straight. So, what I'm gonna do is super slight. I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely not straight anymore. They sell these fittings that take your mini split connector. So it fits all together, 3/4 inch PVC. So we'll trim this and 90 it, and then bam, done. A lot of guys don't like dry fitting their drains. I always dry fit when I'm running a new drain. That way I know, hey, this is where everything's gonna line up. That's my communication wire right there. You want to pull your communication wire through as you mount the unit on the wall, then you don't have this issue. Oh, baby. We have this little loop here, so got extra wire if we ever need it. Manufacturers don't want you to cut, splice anything with this wire. If you do, they want you to solder it. I do have a soldering iron, but I don't carry it with me. So I bought it just in case I ever need it for this. All right, I'm gonna explain how we strip these wires. They've got this thick jacket, okay? This jacket does not peel back easily. You can take your wire strippers, cut a little diagonal piece. Now we should be able to grab a wire and hopefully pull it. They tell you usually to use little connectors on the end, but then they give you a spot in here. I don't know if you can be able to see it right in there. It's like literally made for a wire. So we just use the wire spot. All right, so pull down to 70 microns. We just let it pull the whole time I've been doing all this other stuff. So what we'll do, we can do a little decay test. Now this is normal. It'll shoot up because what it's doing, you've got two lines. We're reading on the close side. So when we close this off, because we have to take the micron reading at the close side to the vacuum, it's gonna read as if it's reading right at the vacuum. The level that it's gonna read here is not the actual level in the pipe. The micron level in the pipe is gonna be a little bit higher than what your micron gauge says. When you close it, it'll shoot up and then stabilize. And this thing isn't gonna go up, guys. I mean, it might go up 10 microns or something, but it's staying put, so. All right, guys, it's been a few minutes. No movement. So these micron gauges, they can handle slightly positive pressure, most of them. You don't want to go super crazy on it. So what we're gonna do is our service port. Crack this. Watch our micron gauge go up. Oh yeah, so we got positive pressure now. Now we're gonna put our Schrader core back in. So we don't want to gunk this system or get gunk in this system by allowing air in. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna crack this and make sure this is open. There we go. We let the air out real quick, and then we screwed this on. The refrigerant pushed the air out, and so we shouldn't have any air in this system. So you open these, you open both of them all the way. Can't really use your service wrenches because I don't think they sell bits this size. That's not gonna come off like that. All right. That's for all you ASMR freaks out there. All right, guys. This is the system running. Fans in high mode right now. Here's our outdoor unit. Still gotta clean up all of our tools, but this is what it sounds like. Basically like a whisper. From right here, I cannot hear this thing running. It's about right here is where I can finally discern that this thing is indeed operating via hearing. And now we gotta do the fun stuff. I don't know what I did with the other cap. Oh, there it is. All right, so we are cooling now. This is, I mean, it is quiet. This debris won't come off because it's wet, so it's sticking. 6 p.m. That's how we're leaving it. He didn't want it mounted. He's sealing up. He's gonna take care of all this inside the wall, he said. Man, clean all this stuff up still. 20 minutes away from home. 6:24 p.m. I got to this house at 9 a.m. I haven't left, so yeah, I'm a little bit hungry. I don't really like to record and drive, but I feel like I don't have time to do anything else. Alex is sick. He's sick as a dog right now. I don't know if he'll be working at all this week. Johnny seemed all right yesterday, and then today he's acting half delirious on this job. I don't want people working for me when they're sick. I don't want to get the customer sick. Yeah, he's like, I think I'm gonna throw up. I'm like, dude, go home. Go home. We live in San Diego. It's not worth beating ourselves up to get these jobs. I'm overbooked this week based on the available manpower I have. I was like, man, I'm just gonna get this job done. And here I am driving home at 6:30 p.m. I left the house today at 8. I haven't taken a break yet. I'm not bragging or anything. I actually just realized I haven't drank any water yet. That's not good. I don't know how I even survived doing that, but it's something that I do a little bit frequently. Just forget to drink water. Yeah, drink some fluids, eat some food, because I haven't done that either. I don't think it's healthy to run off of straight coffee, but maybe I'm wrong. You say black coffee's not that bad for you. That's what I drink. Hopefully someone can gain a little bit of knowledge of mini split installations from this video. Maybe it'll encourage some people to try and install them. Maybe it'll scare some others away. They're not that hard to install, but to do them really pristinely, it definitely takes a bit more time than what most guys will do. I would say we install these things at a pretty high level compared to most contractors. I don't really see very